Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time it is, boys and girls, and welcome to Online Learning Week number 2, and here is your video for this week's music class. So today I thought it would be fun if we learned a song together. I know we do that a lot during school, so I thought why not do it at home, because that'll be a great experience for you all. So today we're going to learn a song called Oh Susanna, and I know we can't play a game this time and we can't sing it all together, but we can sing it at our houses. And Oh Susanna is a folk song, which means that it is passed down from generation to generation, and maybe some of your parents have heard this song and maybe some of them haven't, and it doesn't really matter either way. We're all going to learn it. I myself only learned it a few years ago. But it's a fun little song, and we're going to do some motions with it. We're going to learn it a lot like how we've learned other songs in the past. I will sing the whole song for you. We'll talk about what the song kind of means. Then I'll sing a line, you'll sing a line, we'll learn it that way, and then we will sing the song all together. So we're going to do that whole entire process. If you ever need to rewind it back, the video, because you need to hear something again, feel free to. Do whatever you need to do to have the best experience you can here. So this is how the song goes. Well, I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee, and I'm bound for Louisiana, my Susanna for to see. Oh, Susanna, now don't you cry for me. Well, I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee. Well, it rained all day the night I left, the weather was so dry. The sun so hot I froze myself. Susanna, don't you cry. Oh, Susanna, now don't you cry for me. Well, I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee. Okay, so what did you hear in that song? Just take a second to think, and then I will talk about some of the things I've heard. Alright, so this song is about someone traveling from Alabama to Louisiana to see someone they care about named Susanna. They kind of rhyme, don't they? So Alabama is a place in the United States. It's a state. And Louisiana is also a state in the United States. And this person's traveling from that state to another state to see someone they care about. And some of you may have, in your lives, traveled to another place to go and see someone that you care about. So you might know how that is. Some of you might not have. It doesn't matter either way. But sometimes people go other places to go and see someone that they care about. I know I have before. In this song, so most of it's talking about that, and he has a banjo, and banjo is a string instrument that you play. It's played kind of similarly to the guitar, but it is not quite a guitar. So he has a banjo that he's playing on his knee, kind of like how when I play guitars for you guys and we're sitting down and I have it on my knee. That's kind of what he's talking about there. The middle of the song was talking about how it rained, but then it was also dry, and it was hot, but then it was also cold. That part might be a little confusing to you, and you might be thinking it's kind of silly because, like, how is it hot and cold and wet and dry? Well, I'm thinking it means that he's traveling over a couple of days. So the day he left, it was raining, but then on other days it was dry. And then sometimes it's hot, but sometimes it's cold, because sometimes we have days that are hot and then the next day is cold, and it's confusing, but it happens. So that's probably what he's talking about. Like, this is a long journey, but he's coming there, and he doesn't want the person to cry. So about how long it's taking, basically. And not to miss him because he'll be back. So now I'm going to sing some lines and you're going to repeat them. So I will point to myself if it is my turn to sing. And I might be doing the motions with it that we're going to be doing for the song, but I will be pointing at myself. And then when it's your turn to sing, I will be pointing this, and one of my hands at least will be out like this. Again, I might be doing motions with my other hand depending on what is happening. So let's start. Well, I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee. Well, I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee, and I'm bound for Louisiana, my Susanna for to see. And I'm bound for Louisiana, my Susanna for to see. Oh, Susanna, now don't you cry for me. Oh, Susanna, now don't you cry for me. Well, I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee. Well, I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee. Awesome. I think we can try to do that whole part all together. If you need to go back to review any of that, just feel free to rewind back. But if you think you can do it with me, go right ahead. Well, I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee, and I'm bound for Louisiana, my Susanna, for to see. Oh, Susanna, now don't you cry for me. Well, I come from Alabama with my banjo on my knee. Awesome. Let's do the second part now. I'll sing, then you'll sing. Well, it rained all day the night I left. Well, it rained all day the night I left. The weather was so dry. The weather was so dry. The sun so hot I froze myself. The sun so hot I froze myself. Susanna, don't you cry. Susanna, don't you cry. Oh, Susanna, now don't you cry for me. Oh, Susanna, now don't you cry for me. Well, I come from Alabama with my banjo on my knee. Well, I come from Alabama with my banjo on my knee. Awesome! If you need that again, go back. If not, let's try it that second half all together. Well, it rained all day the night I left. The weather was so dry. The sun so hot I froze myself. Susanna, don't you cry. Oh, Susanna, now don't you cry for me. Well, I come from Alabama with my banjo on my knee. I might have done something a little bit different at one of those parts in the hand motions by accident. But that's okay, because if you make mistakes, we just keep on going, right? So you might do that too at some point. But either way, I think that probably sounded really good. I think we should move on to the next thing to sing it all together. So let's try all together. Well, I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee, and I'm bound for Louisiana, my Susanna, for to see. Oh, Susanna, now don't you cry for me. Well, I come from Alabama with my banjo on my knee. Well, it rained all day the night I left. The weather was so dry. The sun so hot I froze myself. Susanna, don't you cry. Oh, Susanna, now don't you cry for me. Well, I come from Alabama with my banjo on my knee. Let's do it one more time, because I think we can get 100%. Ready? And well, I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee, and I'm bound for Louisiana, my Susanna, for to see. Oh, Susanna, now don't you cry for me. Well, I come from Alabama with my banjo on my knee. Well, it rained all day the night I left. The weather was so dry. The sun so hot I froze myself. Susanna, don't you cry. Oh, Susanna, now don't you cry for me. Well, I come from Alabama with my banjo on my knee. Awesome. All right, boys and girls. So that's it for our song portion. On the next slide in the Google slideshow, I have another video for you, and this one is about rhythms. So make sure you watch that one too. See you in a few.